close it'll go to different, various different gravitational bodies, get their speed and trajectory, and predict with high precision where that asteroid is going to end up and when. Like we know a great deal about the universe.
A
so
great
scientists,
deal, but not everything.
Oh, correct. I don't claim scientists know everything, but for the things that they have a consensus, this is true. For example, Big Bang Theory.
Right.
And so I accept with a relatively high degree of confidence if there is a scientific consensus on something, I accept that as reality.
Well,
So,
I agree with you too.
So get on that, Sean. So your point is essentially like, for example, with the car. So
Yeah.
if you can't, the way you trust, the way you know that your instincts are telling you, like, I don't know, hey, something's wrong with my car, is by going to a mechanic and saying, having them look at it, whatever, and based off their perspective or their, intellect on it, they'll say, hey, something's wrong with your car, is this specific thing, essentially, right? So, okay, so
same thing with going to a doctor if something's wrong with you physically.
Right, exactly. So essentially, what you're saying is, if the way you the way you judge your intellect is based off someone else's intellect. Am I getting that right? Essentially,
only in some cases. So like, there's like a
okay. So what would be a case that you didn't,
One second. This is my question to you. Does the animal have perception of reality?
Does what?
Is this for me or Sean?
The animal. Does the animal have the perception of reality?
Animals do as well. They don't have. Yeah, they don't have as high of a cognitive ability as us to like onto the universe. But yeah, animals do have. Depending on the animal, animals do have perceptions of reality.
Good. So now you're trying to only based on reality about scientific observation. Reality is something that can be observed by any other person. How he perceive real things to be. It's reality have nothing to do like consciousness, or you have to be like, I don't know, believe in something first before you know reality. Reality is real. Like, for example,
I know
something that good.
Yes, so
reality is not good.
Yeah,
reality.
I'm discussing perceptions of reality. Your perception of I believe everyone is wrong about some things. So our perceptions of reality are imperfect. Some more imperfect than others. But my goal
we're
is
the only beings on planet Earth that can actually question why we're here.
So Sean, I had a question on what to do regarding that. So, you kind of interrupted on my conversation, though, bro.
Nah, I just want to say something, right? He was saying something like,
you were saying something for one time, bro.
1 second, bro. Do you know what makes the brains complex? Because everybody think within their own mind they are right in every perception that it's had about anything.
Well, that's why it's a perception. And I recognize that we're capable of being wrong as well.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense to say, I perceive that this is reality, but I think this is wrong.
Good. The only way you can say something is wrong because what majority agrees upon to be right. Because in life, like, nothing is true or lie. What you accept to be true is what you think is true. But what you accept to be lies can also be true for another person. So think about it.
I don't know what you're telling me.
Well, there are definitive truths in the universe and like life in general. I mean, like, for example, Mars exists? That's a definitive truth. You can't just sit here and say because the majority of the world agrees Mars exists and you don't. The majority of the world agrees that Mars doesn't exist, and you know for a fact it does. Like, that doesn't mean that it's just true. Like, it's not true.
Will, are you a Christian?
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
Okay, so Sean, I had one last question I want to make. Make my point with it real quick. So essentially, what I was trying to get with, well, not really what I was trying to get with, but I don't want to like be the only one talking. I know they want to talk too, so I ain't gonna do that. But so would it be wrong? So let's just say, there's objective reality, subjective morality.
Mm-hmm.
Is it wrong for me because you said that you base your cognitive abilities based on someone else's, well, depending on the scenario, someone else's cognitive abilities.
If it's an expert field, which I do not have expertise. I rely on experts.
Right. So basically, you appeal to a higher cognitive intelligence, essentially. So, and
Yeah,
higher
for
intelligence you appeal
fact-based
to
things,
for
yes.
scientific things, or like physical things, essentially.
Yeah.
So would it be wrong for me to want to appeal to the Bible or to God to say this is my reason, or this is why I know the things that I think or the things that I say, are objective? Would that be a problem?
Well, it depends. So for me,
Scientifically though, scientifically, like for your example.
It's not a scientific question. So if morality is subjective, that doesn't relate to having a perception about facts of reality. So what if that God, for example, said that unaliving babies and turning them into baby sandwiches and eating them was moral?
Okay. I know what you're referencing.
So
that
here,
is a.
okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have to. I know what you're referencing. That book in the Bible. That is an actual.
No, I wasn't referencing. That was hypothetical. I wasn't.
No.
Here's where honestly, Sean.
There's
you would have to do an internal, like whatever says that. Like you have to.
No, nothing says that. I'm giving you a hypothetical.
No. I know it's a hypothetical. That's what I'm saying. Like if hypothetically, so and so said that, it would be based. You would be judging if that's right or wrong based off your own your own subjective morality, or the own or whatever like said so's its own morality, or how it declares like morality to be, whatever.
Yeah, I'm asking if this higher power or God, whatever you want to call it, said that doing that thing was moral, would you consider it moral?
I mean
the reason why I wouldn't is because I have the Bible, or I have God. I could already rule out, no, it's not. It's actually not in higher power at all. I could rule it out.
No, so
that's a hypothetical, Sean. That's not what.
Yes, exactly. It is.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, you said like in the hypothetical. That's why
I'm not afraid of a hypothetical.
But we have to go by fact of what God says.
Okay, so you're afraid of hypotheticals.
No, we can do the hypothetical, Sean.
Okay,
it's just a fact on what fact on what God claims that He is. Like He claims that He is.
My one yes is okay. He's able to answer questions, so I'll let him.
1 second, guys.
Do you want to tell me?
Nope. Hold up.
Go ahead. Wait. Hold on, guys.
Hold up. We got to talk one at a time. We can't hear each other when we're all talking over each other. I know we all got stuff to say, but like, let's let everybody finish.
I really wanted to say something like, so Sean, I'm not afraid of hypotheticals, but only like when they're like within the actual
you
context of what the Bible says.
I'm not afraid of. That's not, if it's within the context of what the Bible says, then it's not a hypothetical.
Well, because then it's just not afraid. I'm not afraid of hypotheticals. Like He never claims to say it's okay to eat babies.
Yeah. I'm talking about the concept. I'm talking about the consequence of having that moral system, and that's fine. I can understand why you don't want to answer it, because either answer you give will poke holes in your position. So you
can just say Miles, Sean. It's the one.
What is it, Miles? Oh, okay, that's supposed to be enough. All right. I was like, my one yes.
Yeah.
So my one yes. If God gave that, granted it's hypothetical, if He said that was moral, would you consider it moral?
I would not. But okay, I want to add something to that just real quick. I promise.
Okay, go ahead.
But I would not. But objectively, if He is the God of this world, in which I'm saying I wouldn't at all. But
no, I'm not asking if you would do it. I'm just asking.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I don't want to. I want the whole chat.
No, I got you. If He said it was moral, would you consider it moral?
No, I wouldn't, and it will be based off, and it will be an external critique on the God, not like a.
Got you. So basically, you are coming up with moral appraisals of your own, independent of a God. So basically, there's two things. One, if morality is just whatever God says, and it's just good by definition because God says it, good, the word good loses any sort of meaning. You might as well just say it's, instead of God is good, God is godly. Because if He's a sadistic monster, that's good. If He's kind and empathetic, that's also good. Literally anything is good, and good loses all meaning because you're just saying whatever He says, no matter how I think about it, is just good by definition. good loses all meaning.
Sean, I came at you wrong a little with your question. By the way,
moral is only observed in the human society by their own perception what they think that is right. But when we look into it with real sense, like moral, that's why people say moral is objective, because how will you think this is not how everybody think? Why you think it is wrong, not what other people think that is wrong.
That's by definition subjective.
1 second. 1 second.
Go ahead.
Good. So there's nothing in life like a wrong or good. We only have good and wrong into our human society.
Yeah, I think that's kind of besides the. I think it's kind of besides the point. Let's try to stay on topic. We're talking about like the Christian God right now.
But
like,
or any God for that matter.
If you're trying to perceive what is good, like if you're trying to perceive what is good, if I put it into a position, right? Like if someone is coming maybe to honor life someone in your presence, and immediately you honor life that person, where you right to honor life that person, because we all know that honor life.
Wait, that's beside the point. We're talking about God right now.
So Sean, I wanted to get back on that example again.
Yeah. So what is your objective criteria for assessing good behaviors from bad behaviors?
Well, I would
what criteria?
It would immediately just be God in the Bible.
Okay. And if that would encompass literally anything. So if the God of the Bible is a sadistic monster, you would consider that good.
So you said a sadistic monster. How would you know? How would you know that the God of that Bible is actually a sadistic monster? What would the standard be for that?
Well, you're asking for my. I can give you my standard from.
Yeah. So would it be internal? Would it be critiquing it internally on what it says it is, or would it be an external critique on what you say it is?
So because morality is subjective, we are all making our personal preference. We start with our personal preference as a moral compass. Mine is how actions affect the well-being, health, and happiness of individuals and society. Right, that's my moral compass.
Right. So
it's normal.
Can I speak for 1 second on something real quick? So Sean, I do. What is it? I wanted to apologize originally for the question. I didn't mean to get so defensive on your hypothetical. And I will answer that real quick.
It's all good.
Yes, no, I would not follow that God of the Bible, but because God does not say those things, that's the reason I got so defensive of it. That's why I was trying.
I got you. So, but I want you to go ahead.
Also too, so like I know it's like we're talking about if God, like if he told us to do sadistic things and he was sadistic in nature, then we would consider that good. But does that mean that there's like no just grounds for what's good and bad objectively at all? Because
not objectively, but here's. Sorry, I don't mean to talk over you, Will.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, would you say, like, if in today's world, by some, like, if we lived in a parallel Earth where, like, bad things were good and like murder was seen as like the best possible gift you could give to somebody? Everybody just lied, cheated, cursed people out of their names, and that was considered good. Would you objectively say that that is good? Just because everybody says it is, or would you say that even though people call that good, that's still heinous act?
Yeah. So here's the thing: we all come up with our own moral compass, and a lot of times that compass is affected by many things, cultural influences, et cetera, right? But one thing that ties most of humanity together is that, and lets us have functioning societies, is because we have brains with the capacity to feel empathy. So we don't like seeing people harmed. We don't like seeing people suffer. Okay. So most people, without even realizing it, has strong humanist influences in their morality.
But that's still subjective, though, right? That was still
I mean, it's still technically subjective, but it's near it's near universal, where because a lot of people say, well, if there's no God ordering it, then morality it's just arbitrary.
But here's
the question.
I would honestly argue that, but I would definitely say this though, Sean.
Yeah.
You said it was one thing you said. You said that the Bible, well, the God of the Bible, essentially, is just a subjective, it has its own subjective, thing on morality. The reason why I would say no to that is because subjective means it could be another way. Like, for example, if you say morality is subjective, you're essentially you believe murder is bad. You're saying
subjective means mind dependent.
But would you agree,
but essentially in your subjective, morality, you will be saying, well, I don't believe murder is good, but I mean it could, also be murder could also be good at the same time. You wouldn't be saying anything that's like objective. It's not murder is wrong. No, it's objective. It could be wrong.
Would you argue if there was no
in my
God,
opinion, to me, it's wrong in that sense. But
Well,
the reason why it wouldn't be for the Bible, my bad, I don't mean to talk over. I just want to finish my point real quick. I promise I'm done. The reason why it wouldn't be for the Bible, because like God says, no, this is this. It just is like God says, I am who I am. Like it just is what it is. Like it's no subject. There's no like A, B's, or C. It's literally just A. Like no.
Well,
A is not B, not A could be B. It's no A is A. It's simple as that.
And can I just say one last quick thing before Tristan or like
Sean, I've been up here and I would love to talk to Sean because I feel like a lot of you, not saying any shade, but like I just feel like I'm pretty decently knowledge when it comes to biblical things and with multiple other religions too. So it's like I want to know Sean's take on why he at least when it comes to like Abrahamic religions, and I want to know his opinion on Catholicism, and does he know the difference between the denominations of Catholicism and how Abrahamic religions stem out to become and how they're
Can we stay in this linear conversation that we're having?
Yeah, sure, we can, but I want to get a gauge for his intelligence because the whole response.
I don't need my intelligence critiqued by you. If you want to jump in on the topic at hand, but I'm not interested. I don't have to like prove my intelligence to you.
So
I don't give a flying fuck what you think about me.
The morality aspect. We'll dive in right here then. I'll get you right here. So would you argue the morality of 100 years ago is the same morality we have today?
On an individual basis, I wasn't around 100 years ago. It's subjective to the individual.
Historically speaking.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to speak while you were interrupting.
Go ahead.
Okay. So different people have different moralities. That's because morality is subjective with different influences throughout society. My morality wasn't different 100 years ago because I wasn't around 100 years ago.
But Sean, I do want to say one thing about because your concept of morality and like that it's very subjective to like culture and society. But you can at least just agree that basic human empathy matches up pretty well with the subjects in the Bible, just day to day.
So there are a lot of very humanist teachings in the Bible. For example, especially in the New Testament with Jesus, talking about be kind to strangers, feed the poor, things of that nature. There's certainly good things. There's also really egregiously atrocious things.
Can you give me
violating?
No, he's right. There are bad things in the Bible, but it's more factual statements versus actual.
Because like our concept of morality is different from God's morality.
1 second, Christy, for 1 second. Well, what do you want to reduce morality to? Just the Bible. Is when the Bible give people morality?
Okay, well, again, the Bible is the word through which God speaks, but I believe that the Bible isn't just giving you morality, it's understanding why you have the morality that you have. I'm not saying that people aren't inherently good or inherently bad. I'm saying it gives you an understanding as to where those concepts come from. And God, if he is the personification and the definition of good, and we were created in his image and through him, and we operated by his laws, then it makes sense of where our sense of morality and good comes from. And the Bible is that. It's teachings of where, forgiveness, good, evil, all of it comes from.
1 second. Christian to me. Let me just ask you this question. Human being exists before Bible, right?
Sorry, say that one more time.
Human being exists first before Bible, right?
I don't know what you're saying either.
Human beings exist throughout the whole Bible?
Human being exists first before the Bible.
It's hard for me to understand you.
I think are you trying to tell me that human beings existed before the Bible?
Yes.
That's true, obviously.
That is true, yes, because human beings wrote it, but the concept of which the Bible was written on was through a God that's telling you.
If human existed first before the Bible, what was the moral standard before the Bible came in?
What was the book before the Bible? It was the Torah. It was Judaism.
Yeah, but if you just want to keep going back and back, it's just God because He created the universe, created the Torah, works through people, and created the Bible.
I'm Syria needy help. Please, my brother. Please, my friend. Please, my bro. I love you.
Yeah.
You too, buddy.
Yeah. So
That was interesting.
Hey, real fast though, real fast. We do have a lot of people up here. What's up, Kylo? Welcome to the panel. Nice to see you. We do have to talk one at a time though, for real. People can't hear. People use TikTok captions, so if we're talking over each other, it jumbles the captions and it messes everything up, and nobody can track. So, also, if you haven't sent in your heart me, hit Coco with the heart me. He's the greatest. Why haven't you done that already? Let's get up to like 5K likes. Easy peasy. There's enough of us in here to do that. Make sure you're sharing out the live. The more times we share out the live, the more conversations we can have, the longer we can keep pushing. So that's all I gotta say.
Okay, can I go to can I ask the host a question real quick? Is that cool? Because I joined because of what his caption said. So you said, why should I trust him or believe in a God, believe in a lazy, hidden, and irresponsible, such as the Christian God? And what gives you that idea?
Yeah, so like my main arguments are probably going to be like divine hiddenness, problem of evil, and then I have like other objections against Christianity. But yeah, I would say like God seems lazy in the sense of like divine hiddenness. I think there are non-resistant unbelievers that exist. There are Christians that exist that are praying to God but like get no answer or just get nothing from God. And then, whenever God does answer quote unquote prayers, I don't see any symmetry breaker between like it could be God or it could be explained by naturalism or coincidence or something that would have happened regardless of whether God existed or not. And I think that a lot of people try to have a relationship with God, but I think God is very like lazy or irresponsible in regards to like how he communicates with individuals. It seems as if he's very vague or he communicates in a way that people can't really catch or comprehend.
Sure. And do you mind if I respond back to that? Is that cool with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would argue the idea that the concept of free will, right? The idea of why God doesn't just reveal himself to everyone and why it is ultimately our decision to come to Christ, right? Is because we're in an era of time where we are biblically knowledgeable enough that God does not have to reveal himself in the way that he did in the Old Testament and the New Testament. And God chooses to reveal himself any way he wants to, right? And when I argue, like, when it comes to the idea of like, you said something else. I'm trying to think about what you said. When it comes to the idea of just God being lazy or why he answers some Christians and doesn't answer some, I would argue the fact that it's all faith-based, right? So all of us have a personal, individual relationship with God and Jesus, right? Not all two are going to be the same, no matter who you try to be or no matter who you try to recreate. Your relationship with God is so personal and individual, and it's so faith-orientated, right? So the concept of why God answers in different ways isn't the idea that he's what is the word I'm looking for? Inconsistent. I would argue the fact that it's basically just off of how we look at him spiritually and how much we're actively in the book, in the Bible, you know what I mean? Conducting ourselves, how we hold ourselves is how God chooses to answer us, right? No one truly.
Also, I want to add on to what Tristan was saying too. I do believe what is it? The God in the God is where for most things I hear about most people who try to believe in the Christian God and they don't, is that they just don't hear from him. They don't feel him in those aspects. But God is not a God of just straight, obedience to you. He's a God that is, you have to be obedient to him even when you don't feel him, even when things are hard, even when things aren't going your way. You have to trust the plan because it's a plan and a process. And then he's mapped out a life for you. And maybe that life doesn't necessarily mean every time you pray to him, he's going to fully give you like a heartfelt feeling of just spiritual content. And also on top of that, I
wasn't done, but go ahead, man. I'm sorry, bro. There was more that I wanted to add on to this, but also I want to know. So, are you just speaking on the Christian God or like Abrahamic gods as a whole? Because they're all the same.
Well, any God who's all knowing, why doesn't he make it so everyone knows he exists? You could say free will, but belief has nothing to do with will.
Sure, and I'll give you an example of this. So because there's sin on the earth, right? Because Eve conceived the apple, consumed the apple, bringing the knowledge of good and evil, right? So even the serpent deceived Eve in a way, saying he doesn't want you to be like God. They don't want you to have the knowledge of right and wrong. And that's where you bring up the morality, right? Which I wanted to talk to you a little bit about earlier too. When it comes to morality,
answer my question.
What do you mean? I answered it.
Wait, hold on,
No,
guys,
there
hold on, guys.
wasn't.
What wasn't an answer? Go ahead, answer it. Ask it again. I want to answer it. I'll make sure.
Okay.
Hold on, guys. Pause real quick. Tristan in the comments. My bad. I thought you were like a Christian or you were coming after me. Sorry, Tristan in the comments. I apologize.
Okay. All right. So God wants supposedly God wants everyone to know He exists.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we have now,
he doesn't need you to know He exists. And that's not
does
true.
he want me to know He exists? Does He want everyone to know He exists?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
All right. So if Jesus is Lord and Savior, He set up a system where a fraction of a % of people living in Iran will actually believe He's Lord and Savior. And, you know, your likelihood of actually believing He exists is hugely contingent on what
do you mean?
family you're born to and when.
Being a Muslim, you believe in Jesus as a prophet. They believe He's committed.
I said that's why I said Lord and Savior. They believe He's a prophet. They don't believe He exists as a deity. So unless you think Muslims are saved by Jesus, do you believe Muslims are saved by Jesus Christ?
They do not believe He is the Son of God. No, they do not believe.
Correct. So they won't be saved. So wasn't it lucky that you happen to be born in the right place and right circumstances where you'll end up that way? But if you're born in Thailand or India or Saudi Arabia, you're almost certainly not going to be saved because you were born into the wrong things, where God, if He's all powerful, can let everybody know, hey, I exist. This is the right religion. Here are my rules. You have your free will to follow them or not follow them.
Well, He did that when He came down.
But it's ultimately up to you to decide, no matter what, right? So are you familiar with the
isn't
concept?
a choice.
No, so Sean, let me answer you, right? So listen, it's crazy that you bring this up. I would argue the fact, because I live in America and I have the right to freedom of religion, that I'm open to so many different religions. How am I supposed to concept the idea that Christ is the one that I follow, right? So inheritedly, I wasn't born into my religion. I didn't have someone telling me this is right or wrong, this is what you should believe in. I've got to come to this conclusion on my own, which, yes, is a freedom of America, and I am very blessed to live here. But also knowing that the Christian population is also not as bad as you think it is in the Middle East. There are quite a bit of Christians all over the world. We are
in Iran. What percent of Iranians are Christian?
It's simple. Look it up. What percentage of the Middle East?
Less. I said Iran. You're moving.
I said Middle East. We're gonna throw the whole Middle East at it because we'll look at that.
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't make a claim about the Middle East, but if you're born in Iran, statistically, you almost certainly will not end up believing Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior. That was my point. If you don't want to address it, that's fine.
But that's due to your father's influence, right? That's your father.
And
that's your
also,
father.
Yeah, exactly. So why doesn't Jesus make it so everybody knows I am Lord? You know,
we all have equal
Lord.
access to the knowledge. It's just up to us to believe it.
I mean, He did.
It's not up to us because belief isn't.
It is up to us. Belief is 100% up to us. You cannot force a belief on someone. That is insane.
No, I didn't say someone else can force your belief, but it's an involuntary thing that happens to you. But I could be wrong. Let's test your hypothesis that it's a choice. Choose right now to believe Superman actually exists in reality. Can you do it? Yes or no?
There's no historical context of Superman.
Is that a yes or no to my question?
I don't do yes or no. In Catholicism, in Christianity, I don't do yes or no. I don't do yes or no. Give me a question that I can.
Hey, we're
not. Okay, so since the answer,
Sean, one second.
No, you can't just mute me, Sean.
Yes, I can. That's me.
Pause real quick.
If there's a question asked to you and it's a yes or no, you will answer it. And if you do not want to
engage
with the question,
I won't answer a yes or no. That's not how Christianity works.
If you don't want to engage, then you don't have to be up here.
I'm not afraid of yes or no questions.
What is it? I'll answer that question.
Hey Sean, just
I do that every time. Like Tristan comes up and he crashes out. Like that's what he does. Like
I know.
Yeah. Just used to that.
Hold on.
Sorry, go. CFU's talking.
Hold on,
Coco.
Yeah, go ahead, Coco.
Go ahead. I do like the battle though. I like the debate that's happening, but yeah, I guess you have to answer yes or no questions, and you can give like context afterwards. I do want to bring him up because like I might want to talk to him, but I'm also playing Fortnite, so I'm a little bit distracted.
He doesn't answer yes or no.
He does engage with the rhetoric, and so therefore it does bring for an interesting dialogue. But at the same time, sometimes he'll do the parroting thing where he'll just repeat the last thing he said and consider that part of the argument when it's not, further elaborating, and it kind of goes nowhere sometimes. And so therefore, like, I don't know. So and it could be like a personal bias or something, but
But Sean, I'll answer your question on Superman, the whole Superman.
Go for it, Will.
Go for it.
So no, I would not believe if Superman was if he's not a real person. But I think
but you
most
can't.
historians and atheists alike who actually study history agree Jesus was at least a real person. He doesn't have to be God.
No, but even that's not a choice. The point is, the question is, can you choose as an act of will to believe Superman actually exists in reality? You can't, because beliefs don't work that way. Similarly, I was a former Christian myself, and I started to have doubts, and I really wanted to keep believing. And after a lot of introspection and praying and everything, I literally couldn't, because again, beliefs don't work that way. So when people are like, "Oh, you're just choosing to reject God," no, I literally am unable to believe he exists unless maybe someone comes up with a good argument that convinces me. But you're either convinced of a thing or you're not.
Well, I will say that. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that in one sentence I could rewrite your entire belief system into believing in Jesus or believing in God again. But what I will say is that I have the choice to not believe in Jesus again if I fully just did not believe he was real. And you may not fully, if you may not fully believe he was not, the Christian God. But then again, Superman, like in this situation, Superman, for example, was never recorded to be a factual person. Clark Kent from Metropolis was never recorded to be a factual person.
No, I got you. No, that's true. Okay, but you also, I'm pretty sure you can't choose to believe Thor actually exists in reality, right? So at bare minimum, you're at least acknowledging, and in some cases, you cannot choose to believe things. You're just unable to, right?
Yeah,
and so it's not the weight of the evidence that matters, it's how you perceive the weight of the evidence. That's why we have some people that are diehard flat earthers and some people are round earthers, etc. People process information differently. They have different backgrounds, different epistemology. Some people are susceptible to conspiratorial thinking and what have you. Like, belief isn't a choice, and it doesn't violate free will to teach people things. Someone learning something, I just learned God exists, isn't a violation of their free will.
Well, wait. So learning. Wait. Okay. Wait. Can you like explain that last little bit more about like learning God exists doesn't violate free will?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So okay. So for example, I think we would both agree, if you right now convinced me God is real, you're not violating my free will by doing that, right?
Well, yeah. I don't think I would be. I think I would be influencing.
Okay. If God convinces me God exists, is God violating my free will?
In what way? Is he making you believe in him, or is he showing you signs?
Well, however, he's granting me, he just, if he miracles the knowledge into me, or he just shows up and says, "Hey, dumb motherfucker, I'm right here." Whatever the method is, if he convinces me, and he would know how if he's God, if he convinces me he exists, is that a violation of my free will?
Okay, well, I'll answer your question. It is if he is forcefully changing the definition of what your free will is. I will sit here. Can I just say one thing about free will? Free will is the one thing in the Bible that God does not. He allows no control over it, which means he does not have any influence in that choice. And he can influence, but he can't make you choose.
There is nothing like a free will in the Bible.
Free will in the Bible is something God allows to happen.
I kind of wanted to reiterate something about that hypothetical that you guys explained earlier about how Jesus Christ, if Jesus Christ was a real person, let's even grant that Jesus Christ was a real person, we still can't make the claim that he's the Son of God. That doesn't automatically equate to that. So I mean, it's a leap. It really is a reach, if that makes sense. That's what I wanted to add into. But you guys can continue. I just wanted to bring
Sorry, I'm not trying to like talk over anybody, but like, look, I know if Jesus was a real historical person and he never claimed to be God.
Hold on a second. Let me ask you the question.
Yeah, I got you, man.
Okay, right. If you, in your own knowledge, if you do understand that you are about to born a child, that will be a notorious criminal to cause problem in the world. And you have the full
I'm so sorry. I'm not understanding. Can you please explain?
Yeah, I'm kind of confused.
Okay,
I'm having a lot of trouble understanding you.
Sorry, I'm close to the mic now. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, man.
Good. If you have a chance to born a child who would be a notorious criminal, and you know exactly.
Sorry. If I have a chance to bore a child.
No,
sorry,
he's
what is
saying.
that?
Okay, I know what he's trying to say.
A
He's
child
saying if you had the
who is
chance to
a
have a
criminal.
child and he was going to grow
Who
up
is
to be a
criminal.
criminal,
To be like,
would
Yeah,
you
will
still
you
have
want
a
that
child?
child? And
Sorry?
you know
It depends on technically someone who steals a candy bar is a criminal. If he's going to grow up to be Schmittler, I would not have that child.
Yeah, is it like
Good.
King Leopold or is it like
Good.
Robin
Right,
Hood?
But
Like,
see, that's the thing. I don't know if I have that amount of
Just hold
love
on a
in my
second.
heart
Let me
to
finish
still
the
have that
question.
child.
Right.
That's the thing. I don't know. That's where I think God differs from me.
Right. Well, just wait. God knows very well that some people will go to hell, right? That He created them.
That's a hard question to answer, but I do think at least he can see who is more likely to go to hell.
Because God knows
I don't know if he
everything. He
guarantees
knows the
damnation.
future for everything. No. Hold on.
so if
He knows
God
the future for
if
everything.
God created people to go to hell, then there's no point in praying.
No, God created hell originally for what is it? The fires in him in heaven, which was Satan and his what is it? What are they called? Satan and his angels, which are now called demons. That's who hell was created for.
If he's I'm aware of that, but if he's omniscient, when he
God knows the future for everything. God knows the future for everything. He knows the beginning. He knows the end.
we got that. But if he's omniscient, he knew that he was going to create hell and send humans souls
But
there.
then again, you gotta let me just like
that
put
before he
something
created
into
it.
perspective too. God created Satan, which we can all infer was probably one of the most highest ranking angels in heaven and was adored by the angels and was in the full presence of God, and he still chose to defy with his own free will. God did not make him choose that choice,
Like
and
for
he was
me,
in the full presence of God. We're forgetting
Now,
the fact
I can say
of that.
this. I can
So-
say that if it is true, if 1 second, let me answer his question. I can say this from my own perspective. If it is true that God is the one that created the devil, it means that he's not intelligent enough.
All right. Yeah. So Will, we kind of got sidetracked there. So
Yeah.
I asked
If it
you
is true
if
that
you
God
can.
is the one that created the devil, if it
James,
is true,
I'll answer your
Jamil,
question.
Will, and I.
Just please let me like talk to Sean for a second.
Yeah.
I'll
So
answer your question.
Will, without missing a beat, I asked you if you convince me that God exists, would it violate my free will? And the answer is no. And then if God convinced me that God exists, well, let's see. I can give you this like sort of deep dive into
powerful than I
Bible
am. I don't like, and that's the thing. He chooses not to influence you in those ways. God chooses not to influence your free will. So if he did do anything to put you into his path, it's not violating free will. It's like giving a hint to a It's giving a hint. It's not giving the full hint.
So giving a hint that he knows I'm not gonna recognize is like the hint's literally useless, and he knew that when he gave the hint. Like God, if God is all powerful, it's impossible for him to try to reach out but fail. That would be incongruent with him being all powerful.
That's true if he had full. That would be true if he did not. If he did chose to influence free will, he chooses not to influence it.
But belief doesn't have to do with will.
Yeah,
I'm just
belief
sorry.
has everything to do with will.
Then you
I just
choose to
wanna
believe
confirm,
Superman
back to this
exists.
place. Sorry, it just comes back to the idea of like, does prayer work then, or is that not on like it's not on us to ask for God?
If you're genuinely, but how are you praying? Are you praying with genuine intent to change?
How you pray, but like, what if people can earnestly pray and still start to like till they're unalive basically. So
Well,
I mean, there's what's it called? Like 20,000 people unalive of starvation like every day or something. And it like didn't they just not pray hard enough? Is that how?
No,
that works?
no. And look, right before I say this, when I say this and give an answer for these things, I'm not downplaying anything bad that happened, like starvation, killings, murders, bad things that happen in the world. I am not downplaying those acts. But what I will say is, by my belief and standpoint, that is a consequence of sin and Satan choosing to stray away from God, not God himself. Even if he is omnipotent in that fact, he created him for one purpose and he chose to defy it for another. That is his free will. That's not God's. And
I feel like that's just kind of excusing it for existing, though.
But
that's just
then
kind of
again, it's like
it is a way to dismiss it. Even if you say, "Hey, I don't mean to dismiss it,"
but that's the truth.
means that that's off our hands. That's none of our business.
I would have to change what I would have to change what was the concept of free will, God, and Satan and evil is, and that's just the truth. God created him for one purpose, and he chose to defy. Yes, and look, and we're in the concept of omnipotence means total absolute damnation if you're created with the purpose of hell. God creates people with the purpose of being in his presence, and they choose to stray away because of their own.
Basically told me that they are starving because they deserve to. Because
that's
somewhat like
sin and corruption, not God.
So it's sin and corruption, and so therefore they're beyond saving, even if they pray hard enough.
It's not even about the fact that then God ignoring them and
I just want to see how prayer works and to what extent.
Okay, well, what I'm saying right here is not the fact that they didn't pray hard enough for God. It's not the fact that God didn't, answer them. It's not the fact that God ignored them and he didn't love them. It's about the fact that this world, once the first act of defiance between man was made, it corrupted it. And we're in a corrupted state. Starvation, murder, killing, hate in general just comes from that corruption. And just because corruption exists doesn't mean that good and a God that's trying to do good.
If God created everything, then didn't he also create corruption?
Free will created corruption, and God doesn't control free will. He chooses not to control it.
God can't kill for anyone, and if he can answer prayers, then that is the controlling of free will.
If a being is fully opening themselves up and choosing something.
Before we continue, how are we defining free will? It's just simply the ability to make a choice or do otherwise.
The free will, okay, yes. The free will, there's a difference between God's will is the will that he wants you to follow, and his will. God in the book of in the Bible, God is good. He just is. So he by definition is the definition of good. And God is right. That's God's will. And then your free will, you can choose God's will or you can choose to go away from God's will. And that's what sin is. It's going away from the concept of good, which creates evil.
Will, so you kind of got sidetracked onto the whole thing.
If I could finish.
I was in the middle of something with Will first, but okay.
Let her finish and then we'll go back to it.
Yeah, it was just going to be this last bit. So if someone starves to death, basically, this is God's will, so therefore it is good.
No, that's not God's will for someone to starve to death. God never intended for anybody to starve to death. He intended for all of us to live within the Garden of Eden and peacefully in paradise. That was his intention. And the serpent and defiance caused corruption and sin, which causes starvation, killing, and murders. That's not God's will. That is the will away from God.
Now I'm interested. So when God sees a child in Africa and they're starving and they're praying to him, asking for food, and let's say that child unalives, because that happens very frequently, was that God's will or was that not God's will?
Okay, well, the obvious evil, starvation, and death is not God's will. God mourns that. He mourns that.
Okay, wait, so pause right there. When God hears a child in Africa begging for food and he has all the power to give them food or to help them, but he chooses not to and they pass away, I'd be like, why would he do something like that?
But how do we know he's not choosing to help these children? What if sin's the reason he can't get to these children?
Well, I mean, like that wasn't an issue when he came down as Jesus.
More powerful
than bread.
I'm so sorry. Go
ahead. Like thousands of Jews.
Say that one more time. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Wait, so like there wasn't really an issue when he came down and multiplied fish and bread to feed like thousands of Jews. And like, yeah, there are African children who like pray to God and like they end up dying from starvation.
Okay. Well, obviously, before I say anything to continue on that, I don't think that that's good in any way, but I don't think that it's God's will if he is the definition of what good is. It's not him. It's the corruption of sin that's doing it. That's what it is. That's what I mean by that.
I don't really think it's like the corruption of sin doing it, right? I think that God hears prayers and he has all the ability to answer these prayers or to come down as Jesus and do stuff. Mm-hmm. And people pray and they don't get what they prayed for. So God is like making an active choice to not answer their prayer for some weird reason.
Okay. Well,
Ask a question.
yeah.
Wait. After you respond to that.
Okay.
Well, I also
What is it? What I'm responding to that? What my response to that is, what is it? So when you pray and you're wanting something, right? And I get it. This is not on the same level as if like I want an iPad, so I pray for an iPad, or I need food to survive. I get that. But when you're praying and you're praying to God, and God hears, He hears every prayer. He hears everybody who genuinely believes in Him. And if those children genuinely believe in Him, and they still die of starvation, even though they weren't able to, live in this world. They live in paradise right now, currently. And they're living with the intent of where they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be with God in paradise, never, not crying, not suffering, not starving. God saves those, even people who suffer and believe in Him in this life will live eternally in the next.
Yeah, but yeah, but isn't there an easier way for them to like get to heaven rather than to like starve to death? If God,
it would be if the world didn't defy God so much, and it's not just them; it's mankind as a whole, because God sees mankind's sin and corruption.
You said not just them. If they're babies, it's not them at all. Like they didn't do anything wrong. But Will, how do you reconcile? So you acknowledge you cannot will yourself. You acknowledge you cannot will. Jamil, I'm asking Will a question. Will, how do you reconcile the fact that you acknowledge you cannot will yourself to believe that Superman or Thor or Shiva actually exist in reality with your claim that belief is an act of will?
Okay.
How do you reconcile that contradiction?
Superman, Shiva, and who is Thor? Superman, Shiva, and Thor, in the concept of the way I'm thinking, especially, I'll get to Thor in a minute, but specifically Superman and Shiva. I believe Superman and Shiva you can easily just look at the fact and say those are fictional characters that never existed. At verbatim, at the least, without religion, we can look at Jesus at least existed, so he had a chance to say these things.
Wait,
that's at
so
least
you're
I can look at that.
So in order to believe, you have to have evidence that you find convincing, right? And because they don't, you are unable to just will yourself to believe that those entities exist, right?
There is evidence Jesus existed. There's evidence
you left a part off. Evidence that you find convincing. In other words, it's not the weight. It's not the weight of the evidence that matters. If there's sufficient evidence that convinces you, then your belief is inevitable. If there's insufficient evidence, if you perceive insufficient evidence and what you find convincing might be different from me, then belief is impossible. I know for a fact because I actually went through it, and many former Christians that became atheists actually tried to fight it and just came to the realization they stopped believing.
Well, and then, okay, on top of that, I would like to say that anybody can know of God, anybody can know of the Bible and know of what it says about the crucifixion and the sacrifice Jesus made. But to truly believe and allow yourself to believe is to change the way you view the world as a whole. So belief isn't just fact, it is also obedience when you're following that. If I, in my heart of hearts, am not doing anything God says, and I just claim that I know Jesus and I know His existence, I'm not truly following the belief system
you're not addressing.
Can I say something real quick?
I'm trying my hardest.
Wait, pause there, guys. Zarem, go ahead.
That is what Christians would say, and somebody who is struggling to come out of Christianity, and I've talked to the host about this. That is what they will say. And it makes me feel ashamed that I was ever part of that religion. Why do they always diminish other people's experiences? Like at some point, they didn't believe in their hearts of heart that they believed in Jesus Christ. They believe the same thing too. No need to diminish their experience. And my question was, to you, whenever you were speaking some time ago, what is your definition of good?
Okay, well, firstly, what I want to speak on what you just said, I am so sorry if I'm not being a good example enough or not portraying what.
Christian is a good example. It's fine.
I try my best to go go without what's in my mind and just go with the mind of loving a person and respecting their opinions.
It's love.
If I believe in this system of Jesus died and He died for our sins, and I believe it truly, And the alternative to a non-belief is never seeing my brother or sister again, and never going to heaven with them eternally. Yes, I will. I love isn't just telling you what you want to hear.
It's also diminishing other people's experiences because of yours.
I'm trying my hardest to be as respecting as possible while saying what I need to say and what I think is right. And I'm sorry if I'm doing that, and I don't mean to diminish your experience. I'm just trying to say what I believe is right and real within good. And my concept of good is God, obviously. Morality-wise, concept of good is God if I believe God equals good. But I'm just really.
So what is good? Tell me about goodness. Tell me what that comprises of
good
characteristics.
Is the will of God. That is what goodness is. Good is loving your neighbor and forgiving and being patient with people.
Patience. Okay. So was God patient? Okay. Or did God forgive those innocent children in 1 Samuel 15:3 that did not do anything? Why didn't God forgive them? Because that's one of your characteristics of being good. Why didn't God forgive them? Instead, he unalived them because he was angry with just a small sect of the people.
Well, firstly, you gotta, okay, obviously, I don't believe the murder of children is good, but I'm going to sit here and say, have you read the entirety of the book of Samuel?
I have read the whole Bible front and back.
Okay, so can you explain to me the context of that book and what it's actually stating versus just reading a verse that says killing children is okay?
Yeah, I will tell you the context of why your God chose to unalive innocent children.
And
now,
babies.
Amalekites and
the Amalekites, yes, we know about the Amalekites.
Yeah,
so that was condescending. My bad.
Yes, it was. It's okay. It's intrinsic in Christianity. You can't take it away from your personality as long as you post to be a Christian. It's fine. So as I was saying, the Amalekites and Israel have had a long-standing feud. These people have been going back and forth. And we know that Israel, they're not innocent from the time before Jesus till after Jesus. These people look for trouble every Sunday morning. And then they also found hard-headed people that were more hard-headed than them. But because Israel is this special nation, God's own people, God's favorite people, the graced people of God, God gave them special favor because Amalekites came, found trouble, and they unalived some Israelites. And their God was so mad. The Israelite God, Yahweh, was so mad and was like, oh, you unalive my people? Do you know what you guys should do in return? Do not forgive these people, because don't forgive them, because even though I'm a forgiving God, I don't give a fuck. For these people, I'm gonna break the rules. Unalive even their cattle and their animals, their children. I don't give a fuck about the pregnant women. Cut them off. Cut off even the men that were disabled and did not do anything.
Did the babies do
Cut
any
off
of those
even
things?
the innocent men that were not even involved in the unaliving of the Israelite. Cut off everybody. So please explain to me again. How is that a characteristic of a living God?
I was going to say the Amalekites were killing. They were killing
the babies
even their cattle. Even their cows and their goats.
The Amalekites were torturing
their goats were also carrying guns.
No, answer the question. Were there big children? Were there women, children, babies?
Because, look, I'm not going to answer a question that you're just trying to load without actual explanation of what they were doing. The Amalekites.
I'm asking you, what were the babies they killed
doing? Okay, because I love critical thinkers too.
Yeah, she literally just explained to you the backstory of that.
I've read Samuel too. I know what the Amalekites did.
No, I want to know. I want to know what the babies did wrong. You said they. You said they as a whole entity without going into the specifics, because God specifically pointed out every man, woman, child, infant, and cattle. What did the babies do?
If God knew, okay, so I'll reiterate what you said. So you remember back when we were talking about how if we knew a baby was going to grow up to be a criminal or Hitler or whatever, you wouldn't have that child. What if those babies were going to grow up to rape, kill, steal, and defy God?
Hold on. If the babies grow up in an environment,
how deep are you in the indoctrination that you have to say that kind of nonsense to babies, children that didn't do anything?
God's will. I have to agree with God's will.
Hold on, guy.
My bad.
Here's what I would say. Okay, it's getting a bit heated, and like I totally understand, and also like I love debate, but also like for me personally, the host, I'm an agnostic. I know you're engaging in good faith, and I know that for some of these questions, there might not be like a clear answer that you have. I don't think that you're a bad person, and like it's totally okay if you don't have the answer, right? I would say that like yeah, these would be issues that I also have with the Christian God. I think that he commits like mass genocides and a bunch of stuff. And then yeah, let me even explain what you're saying. Yes, the Amalekites were doing child sacrifices. They were doing like horrible things. Of course, yeah, they were sacrificing the Jews. They were doing child sacrifice, all sorts of terrible things. But
so God's answer was child sacrifice.
Yeah, but God's answer was, okay, go and clear out everybody,
including the
go
children. You're being
animals.
cruel and sacrificing children. Go in there and kill all the children,
everything,
all the babies, all the goats.
Like, level the land, basically.
Damn goats! Like it's not like they unalive the goats to eat them, but
and
just unalive like resourceful animals.
Yeah, like what did the cattle like? Really, like what did the cows do?
Will, do you want to answer that?
But hold on. Before you answer that, but Will, like given that, right? God says go and level the entire land. If these babies were going to grow up to be like the next Schmittler, I mean, like God is all knowing. And from the beginning of time, he basically sees everything that's ever going to happen. He has a guarantee knowledge on like what's going to happen. God could have just canceled out part of the lineage.
I have a better answer than that.
Those people being born.
I have a better answer than that.
They never were born.
If Hitler grew up with a different family in a different country or whatever, he would have grown up to be an entirely different person. So first of all, the notion that every single baby is going to grow up to be a Schmittler is pretty ridiculous. That's like really reaching. But even if you grant that, if those babies were kept with their moms and moved in a different environment, God's all powerful. He could find a way that they don't grow up to be that just by having the people put them in a different environment. Like that's just coping.
Okay.
Exactly. I also need to like put this statement.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I also need to. Oh, sorry. I also need to like put this statement out there. The same thing with the corrupt Pharisees, okay, before Jesus' time and even during Jesus' time. The same thing for them. Why is it? Because Israelites, we also know that they're not the best people. In fact, they're not close to good. God was going to give them, God in the Bible gives these people special grace, gives them chances over and over again, sends new prophets to help these people, and they keep on messing up. In fact, at some point, they went back to idol worship. After their God saved them from Pharaoh, they went back to idol worship. After everything that God did for them. And these people kept on having grace and grace and grace over and over again.
Will, I want to say something nice to you real quick. You're taking a lot of heat from a lot of directions and you're still maintaining calm and you're being cool about it and trying to answer. So I want you to know that like I appreciate that.
Yeah. By the way, Will, you're probably like the only Christian up here, and like it's getting very heated, but like Will is probably just like a good faith person, and he's a Christian, but like
I really don't want to yell at you guys. I don't like, because I understand the difference between, look, obviously these claims about my God upset me. They do, but I understand them, and I understand that we're all human and we all question things, and we can't see God. We can only feel him, and sometimes it's hard to understand the faith and just understand why he's doing these things. Why am I following him, but I'm still with suffering? Even in my life, I've thought about that. Like I've suffered heavily, sins that I've tried to struggle with and repent away. Like I know, like, and I don't feel like I hear an answer. But what I will say on that is that I know he's like, I have to trust that he's there because he says he is there. He says he's walking with me through troubles, trials, tribulations, and he has a plan for me. And that's the reason I follow, not because every question, every prayer I say gets answered, but because I know that he has a plan for me and he wants me, and I choose him because of that, not because he's a perfectly answering God, but because I know that he's a God that loves me and knows me.
Will, I have a really important question for you. So
I'll go after you.
Sure. This is a really important question. So I really do trust that you're a good faith person. You earnestly believe what you believe and believe it's justified, the whole thing, right? And that you've done your due diligence, etc. If it turns out that Islam has it right, Jesus is just a prophet, and Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the final and most important prophet. Islam is correct. Do you deserve to be burned alive or tortured or whatever hell is to them for all eternity?
I don't
just
deserve
because
heaven
just for being
eternally.
just for being wrong.
I don't deserve heaven as is. I have
No,
the
no,
ability-
I'm saying, so they're, but okay, I got that. Everyone's sinners, everyone deserves hell.
Yes.
That, they believe that too. But the divine pardon is contingent on you believing and then following that faith or what have you. But you just happen to be convinced of the wrong religion, not the really, like you gave it your best effort. Like you did a good faith. Like, I really believe this is true, but oops, you don't get that divine pardon, helltown for you for all eternity, just because you were convinced of the wrong religion. Would you deserve that? Would you be okay with that?
Honestly, if Jesus is in the way, I don't want another way.
You say that until the fire comes on, 2 seconds of that fire, and you're like, get me out of here.
Right. I would also like to wait. If you found out tomorrow that God didn't exist, would you like unalive yourself or something?
Well, then that's a completely different situation entirely. If there's no God and no moral standpoint, I would still try to live the best life I could. But if the God I believe in is not right, I will die with my faith. I believe heavily in my God. But if there's no God, then I would just try to live the best life as I can. But if there is another faith that, let's say the Islamic religion is right, I would
you deserve hell? That's the question. Would you deserve being passed over for that grand pardon? Would you deserve it if it turns out that the Muslims are right and you're wrong?
Well, just right there off, and I'm not trying to work around the question. I'm trying to answer it with explanation. Obviously because of the fact that I wasn't right, and I had the ability to choose and follow the right faith. I would die with my faith. I would die with the faith that I chose. But even now, I don't feel like I deserve heaven. I feel like it's a gift it's a gift through Jesus, not because I earned it. And I heavily debate and argue it because I feel as if it's a gift, and I feel like it's was it grace. It's not obedience, it's grace.
Yeah, I just think that whole I'm deserving of eternal torture, but I'm just getting mercy, but I'm such a horrible sinner that I deserve to be I don't know if you believe in hellfire, but set on fire for all eternity.
I believe in the lake of fire.
Yeah. You deserve, even the belief that you deserve that, to me is just so freaking toxic. Like in society, what we go with, if it's not dealing with God, is punishment fits the crime. Somebody petty theft, pay a fine, maybe a day in jail. Someone does something heinous, prison for 50 years, whatever, it's proportional, right? You're talking being set on fire for all eternity, and you think you're so awful you deserve it. That is just so.
I actually want to clarify something about hell. I feel is misconceptualized too.
Wait, pause before you do it. Tell me if I'm about to predict what you're about to say. But when it comes to Christianity, there's different versions of hell. Of course, there's the one that's influenced by Dante's Inferno, where it's like a fiery brimstone pit and gnashing of teeth. But there are also people who are annihilationists, who believe that
he said lake of fire,
or there's no place that people go to. They just simply cease to exist. And then there are some people who believe that there is a place, but it's just the absence of God. And it just feels torturous, and it's not fiery brimstone. It's just the absence of God, and it's torturous. So there's different versions. But was that what you were gonna say?
Well, kind of, but kind of not. I've had to, because growing up, I was very scared of the concept of hell in general, because I thought it was just eternal torment by demons. Basically, I had to study I had to study it very intently to understand how I figure this is right. And also too, I don't feel like I feel like we're misconstruing hell as something eternal torture versus eternal punishment. I feel like there is a place called the lake of fire.
That's semantics.
There is a place called the lake of fire. Well, eternal torture means that we're going to get tortured with burning and burning for all of eternity. But I think that's misconstrued by how the wailing, the gnashing of teeth, like people see that, like that specific line, they're like, oh, that must mean it's in hell. I mean, or the lake of fire is what I'm calling it right here. But I basically, from what I've read, God says he's destroying evil. He's not containing evil for torture. He's destroying all evil, and there will be nothing but good left in his presence. And what is it? And I've thought about this, if the eternal presence of God is everlasting life, then hell is described as the eternal absence and eternal punishment. It's not eternal torture, it's eternal death and destruction of all evil.
Okay. Yeah, so I think you're better than that, and I don't think you deserve to be executed. I'll just say that. You seem like a good guy, Will. I don't think you deserve that, and I think it's
You too, man.
really toxic and harmful that you've been indoctrinated into believing that you actually deserve that.
Yeah, but let's pause here. Well, let's pause here real quick. Actually, Zerum, say what you're gonna say, and then I'll address the other guests.
I just wanted to say, like, after all of this, like, matter and sense, performativeness, in Revelation, Paul clearly says it's only 1,000, 100,000, 100,000 people, that are going to heaven, and they're from the 12 tribes of Israel. So after all of this, like, Americans and, people who are just Gentiles, anybody outside of Israel doing all of this Christian performativeness, we're still all going to be in the same place, like hell, like, because Jesus clearly said that he came for his people. And if you're doing all of that, like, oh my God, Anima Christi Sanctified, like, we're still going to end up in hell.
Well,
so.
one thing
I
I
think
want to
Trump's
clarify
going to
about
heaven.
that, Paul never.
He
Pull
got
up
a
the
call.
verse.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think-
Pull up
according
the
to the Old
verse.
Testament, I think
I
we're
will
gonna-
say pull up the verse, but Paul said the great
Hold
multitude.
Yeah, but Trump's definitely going to be one of the 100,000
100,000
that go to heaven.
Bro, that was gonna be crazy, bro. But okay, you guys pull up the verse, but let me spin the conversation in a
Here.
different direction. Let me AX. What you got for me, or what you want me to call you? A.
A is fine, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, you can just tell me that.
But yeah, what you got for me today?
Let me reread it one more time.
No, you're right. It says 144,000 people, but it's misinterpreted as a capped number versus just a symbolic number.
Nigga, shush. He was very specific in the number.
Okay.
Oh,
He was very specific in the number. It was not no metaphoric.
Life and grace just to cap out.
He was even specific with the tribe that it comes from, honey.
I will.
But I do agree
That you looked it up, so
God
He's
is
Googling
like-
apologetics right now.
just Google the apologetic.
At this point, I don't know
for
what
not
TikTok
believing you,
allows.
but like I understand what you're saying. The 144,000 people, I understand. I get what that's saying, but it's more symbolic to show how many people will actually go to heaven. The great multitude will not.
What is the since you're saying it's metaphoric, and you're saying that it's metaphoric, that, like, can you give me the real interpretation since you said it's metaphoric?
Well,
tell me what it's meant to be.
That it's just a number to symbolize the amount of people that will actually go to heaven through genuine
From Israel.
Well, hold on, guys. We do have to pause this because we do have to get to the other guests, but we'll come back to this.
Sorry, I need to get my charger anyway.
Okay, but hey, what you got for me in regards to the topic?
I was gonna say that I agree that God is very negligent. He doesn't take care of creation. He's just negligent. He has the power to change so many things. He doesn't interfere. And a lot of the times in the Bible, he infringes free will all the time.
Oh yeah. Like I totally agree. But I would say that for me, free will is just gonna be the ability to do otherwise.
Yeah.
I can, for most discussions that I have with Christians, I typically just grant that okay, free will exists, but God intervening with things doesn't necessarily negate that free will. As much as like Christians try to use it as like a scapegoat, saying that God can't intervene unless it's going to negate free will. One thing that I point to is that in the Bible it says that Jesus performed all these miracles and then he was crucified, and there were plenty of people who made the choice to not believe in him. Plenty of people ran away after the crucifixion and the resurrection, right? They didn't believe in him. And also doubting Thomas. Thomas was there. He saw like a bunch of stuff, but he said he wouldn't believe that Jesus actually resurrected until he felt the holes in his hands. And so people started the free will to like turn away, despite the fact that God was in their presence doing a bunch of miracles. So I don't think like God intervening gets rid of free will. So, like the question is like, where's God in the current world that we currently live in? With there's confusion, bunch of evil happening, people praying, and all sorts of stuff.
So real question, why did God give dinosaurs cancer?
Oh yeah, and then also before the fall of man, what we know about science is that dinosaurs were here before humans, and yet they had cancer and suffering.
Yeah, so like 100+ million years before mankind was even a thought. Well, maybe a thought in God's head, but the whole thing is, well, cancer is a result of man's sin, but dinosaurs, which went extinct 65 million years ago, we found dinosaurs fossils with like bone cancer and shit.
Yeah, so there's a bunch
so why
of
did
questions.
so like that was supposed to be that's what it's man's sin. Now all the animals got to suffer, which itself is problematic. But
we're only here for 6,000 years. Come on now.
Say what?
Are you serious? He's a young restorationist. Or is he? Either that or he's
The 1,000 years to one day analogy is just a concept of how God is outside of time, not necessarily as an actual, physical limitation of what time, what a day is to God. It's just an analogy to say God is outside.
This shit I
It's
hate.
not an analogy.
So,
This is shit I hate. This analogy shit, like I hate it so much.
Wait, hold on. So wait, what did you say?
It's so
It says
basically
the world is 6,000 years.
Wait. You believe the world is 6,000 years old?
Me? No.
Yeah. Oh, no. Okay.
I'm just reiterating what it says.
Wait, who says it's 6,000 years old?
I don't think any.
Bible.
Or okay, so like I don't think A thinks that the world is 6,000 years old. I'm not sure about Will, but if that's the case, like I have my notes.
Someone said it.
Well, I mean, if God created time, how would he even limit it to a time per day ratio? It's just that, I mean, it has to be an analogy.
Well, why did he give dinosaurs bone cancer and shit?
Honestly, I will admit I do not have an answer for that. I just don't. I don't have an answer for
and
that.
that's totally fine.
I mean,
that's
totally fair.
Because like
I'm not going to BS me. I just don't have an answer.
Yeah, so obviously cancer wasn't created by man's sin because it existed for billions of years before man. Well, let's see, the first life, billions of years, at least hundreds of millions of years before man even existed.
But yeah, with the problem of evil, there's like a bunch of ways that you can go about it.
I've been trying to get John because it came up in one of our lives to put that as the prompt with like a dinosaur and like in a hospital bed or something. God, and then the prompt would be like God hates dinosaurs, just so people are like, what the frick?
Yeah. But also, by the way, while it's kind of quiet right now, let me remind everyone there's 28 people in here. Thank you guys for being in here. If you can, please like tap your screens to like the live. That will help the live get on the For You page. And if you can, share the live to anyone who you think might be interested. That will help get this live out. And then also, you don't have to. I just enjoy that you guys are here. But if you have any spare change, one heart me. It costs like 1 cent. Send a heart me, and that also helps boost out the live. And if you send a heart me, you get access to these really cool emojis. Which let me send one.
He's got some good ones. He's got some good ones. Smooth brain and all kinds of like cooked. Like I don't know, they're funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna send a few in the chat. There's this one where it's like it's the face of a really bad Christian debater on TikTok, and it says potato over his head. So yeah, you get access to those things. But yeah.
Oh, Darth Dawkins came into John Cohen's live.
Did he get cooked? Because Darth Dawkins
he crashed out in like 2 minutes because he kept trying to talk over John. You've been in there with John, and John is very soft spoken, really nice guy, this and that, and then he was just trying to like shout him down. If you want an opportunity to talk to me, you need to. And like John's like calmly trying to have a conversation with him, and he kept talking over John, so John muted him a couple times, and then he just like crashed out and left. It never even got to go anywhere. And I was so sad. I got a phone. I was in there. I was co-hosting, and I got a phone call. And then my phone call was like 30 minutes. I came back, and he's like, John's like, Sean, you left at the wrong time. And I'm like, what happened? And then he told me what happened. I'm like, damn it. I was gonna try to get him because I really wanted him to like go up and have a real conversation in a format where he can't just like mute and kick people, you know. But I wanted to have like a legit conversation with him. But
I
have some videos on my page if you'd like to see that. I got like close to a dozen parts of a singular conversation I had with him. I was able to keep him on for a good like 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But also but really quick before we move on, for the 24 people in here, if you're a Christian or if you're an atheist, Darth Dawkins has to be one of the worst Christian apologists on this app. He will not answer your questions. He crashes out. He is a grown man who is just a fucking like man-child and has no maturity. So do not take any of his notes seriously. Don't take him seriously. He's very rude and disrespectful. He's basically just an old fat white man on the internet running tags.
I'd actually like to have a conversation because I think that me and that guy would probably have a productive, like not productive, but nice conversation if he doesn't mute me.
I can't see that because you're very aggressive and so is he. Like you guys.
Oh my God, I'm aggressive. I'm not. I'm a sweetie pie. You should see, like,
you
like
went
I
up on me
take
while I was
pictures with orphans and like, you know.
Hey, Zero, you went up on. I was like on your side. And
I use him as a play toy.
Zrim, yo, the amount of times you've popped off on the live, bro, like.
Oh my God, that is not me, guys. Like, I swear I'm Christian. I've given my life to Christ. I can never do that.
Like I don't think you're gonna last with Darth Dawkins. He's gonna mute and kick you and block you. Like he's just like
I mean, I've had like this white guy do it to me before. Then he was DMing me some freaky shit.
Damn, Christians.
Did he send you an eggplant pic?
No.
Okay. All right. A lot of women complain like they get unsolicited D pics.
Yeah, I would have like found his child and sent it to that person. Probably. That's something that I would do.
Can I have 30 seconds for a quick glaze sesh real fast?
Go for it.
So, Matthew, I don't know if you remember this, but you were the very first person I ever debated on TikTok. And you were the one who like got me intellectually thinking about like why I believe what I believe. And I pop into your lives and when I hear you talk, you're just so eloquently spoken, I suppose is the correct terminology. And you're very knowledgeable, and I just think that's really cool. And I tried to glaze real fast.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Sia.
His name's Matthew. What the fuck?
I'm just messing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, thank you. That's nice.
Matthew's the GOAT. He's very well-rounded. He does politics. He does science. He does religion. Matthew is definitely somebody you want to take notes off of.
I hope you're left-leaning or extreme leftist. Okay, good.
Wait, actually, do you guys want to see something? Matthew, I took the political compass test the other day, and I mean, like, before I took the test, I identified as a liberal socialist, but then I took the test, and yeah, I was in the liberal socialist like bottom corner, and yeah, I'm on the left. Right here, I can show you guys.
Same. I'm a libertarian. Whenever I took the test, but I was in my extreme era at that time, and I still came out as liberal. It's crazy.
Yeah. I came out like a right-wing authoritarian.
Hell the fuck no, Sean.
This is crazy,
No,
bro.
I didn't
You must
take,
be God.
I didn't take the test. Who said that? That was funny.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say that wasn't like a good joke. I know I did, but that was kind of cool.
Authority, right? He's got to be maximum authority, so he's definitely on the right.
That's right. My authority. There's a lot of parallels between Kim Jong-un and God.
Okay, that I don't know so much about.
I mean, I think so.
I spent a lot of time in South Korea, so.
Oh, I actually want to go to South Korea. Was it that's pretty cool? Yeah,
South Korea is cool. Driving there is a freaking nuts, just so you know. Be forewarned.
Yeah.
But they were driving on the right side of the road.
Okay, here, let me.
If I had a country,
It's rough out there,
I
though.
would execute every single Christian.
Okay, don't say that on the live. please.
Jesus.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Reach, bro.
That is whole Christian Ishmael. But okay, so my score. Okay, so basically, like, this is what the graph looks like, right?
I want
It's
to take
like-
this test.
Yeah, so basically, like, the graph looks like 4 boxes, and like this is a number line. This is 0, this is negative, and it's the left, and this is positive, and this is the right. My score was I'm like a negative 6.5, and then up and down I think that's negative 5.4. So this is where I landed. I'm on the left. I'm like a libertarian. I'm a liberal socialist, but sort of authoritarian.
You're almost as far left as I am.
Tyrion.
No, you're
Yeah.
not. Authoritarian's at the top.
Oh, it said something about like it
I
said like
cannot see you being an authoritarian. What's the website called?
It's thepoliticalcompass.org.
The
Yeah.
political clump. Thepoliticalcompass.org.
Take out the.
You know, if Coco wasn't doing this type of stuff online, I would imagine him as a furry. I don't think there's any way you could be a
bruh.
target.
I don't think I'd be a
Which is
furry.
nothing wrong with a furry, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean,
nothing
I
wrong
don't.
with-
I